The Chicago Bears were just impacted big time by two major injuries. And we're looking at is Caleb Williams, right? He's about to make his debut. A major injury last night just possibly changed everything in the NFC North. And we're also going to talk about Tyson Bagent and how really blessed the Bears are to be just really well prepared for such a situation. But first, let's get to the latest. You guys have probably already seen this. Head coach Matt LaFleur of the Green Bay Packers didn't have much information about quarterback Jordan Love. He had a knee injury. That was during Friday night's loss to the Eagles. The team should have a better idea really soon on what they're actually dealing with. And Tom Pelissero of NFL Media, he reported that initial testing showed that Love's ACL is intact, and he's scheduled to have more tests once the team is back in Green Bay. They're also on their way back from Brazil. Today they should land at about noon, so I'm sure news will filter in throughout the day and tomorrow as to what's actually happening with Jordan Love's knee. But if you guys were watching the game, if you play fantasy football, you were for sure. I was watching it last night. He was injured on a hit by Eagles defenders Jalen Carter and Josh Sweat, and it was in the fourth quarter. I think there were about 6 seconds left. It didn't look good. He was helped off the field by trainers. He remained on the bench until the end of the 34-29 loss. I'm going to go to this source on NBC Sports Chicago. If you just want to read up on this in its entirety, I'm kind of giving you a Cliff Notes version. So Malik Willis, he joined the Packers in a trade before the cut to 53 players. He relieved Love. He's the clear backup. He didn't look great, but it was only 2 opportunities. But we know from watching him in Tennessee, Malik Willis is not it. Now let's move on to another impactful injury. I'm gonna close this down. The Athletic's Diana Rossini, she just posted that she believes that Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson's job is very much at risk. That's exasperated by his recent injury. It's likely going to keep him out for the Steelers game against Atlanta. And this is just really good news as Bears fans. He's labeled questionable with a calf injury. It's been an issue all camp since he injured it. Get this, pushing a sled. You can't make this stuff up. A starting quarterback is pushing a sled during conditioning drills. It's just insane. So it appears likely that Justin Fields would draw the start. And you guys all know how that affects the Bears. If he plays 51% of the plays this year, we get a 4th rounder instead of the initial 6th round conditional pick from the Steelers in next year's draft. And that's just huge. If we look at it in a little more detail, this is actually a new flare-up for Wilson. He was all clear on Wednesday until landing on the injury report on Thursday. Looks like he re-aggravated it. And he talked in his Friday interview that it was tightness, not a major issue. But this tightness, not a major issue, this is the same reason behind him missing most of the preseason while in a training camp battle with Justin Fields. And honestly, news is coming out. I'm not so sure it was a battle. I think Pittsburgh already had their mind made up with Wilson, saying he was in pole position. I think they had him as a choice, as the top choice, regardless of what Fields did in the preseason. I guess it doesn't really matter. True or not, the Steelers' hand, it's been forced. I just hope Justin Fields balls out. I mean, he really deserves a second chance. He should have every opportunity to do so after he ran with the ones pretty much the whole offseason. So just invaluable preparation for this to happen for Justin Fields. So let's wait for news on both, but this is going to be a lot of fun. So if Love is out for any significant amount of time, man, the Packers are in trouble. Willis just is not it. They're probably going to have to look to get a free agent like Ryan Tannehill or somebody like that to actually take reps as Love recovers. So we're looking at the Lions. They got a tough matchup against the Rams tomorrow night. A Green Bay lost last night. Kind of sensing a change here. We build a great roster. You guys know that. We've always been looking up with this division in recent memory. And with Caleb Williams debuting, the Chicago Bears can very well be in pole position. First step is Tennessee, but we can actually be at the top of this division looking down for a change. Let's look at how this Green Bay situation is playing out. The actual panic that I hear from my friends who are Green Bay fans, it reminds me of something. how blessed this team is to have Tyson Bagent. This is a dude who just beat out more experienced competition for the second year in a row. He beat out Rippon in camp, and man, just such a nice backup to have. Frankly, I think he'd seriously contend to start on several other teams. And last season, Bagent, he represented a breath of fresh air. And it was at the time that the Bears didn't really know what the future was at the position. That's when he was filling in for an injured Justin Fields. And the guy played in a total of 5 games last year. And as an undrafted free agent, straight up, this guy balled out. He had to work with a stagnant and struggling offense at the time, and he went 2 for 2 in 4 starts. He threw for 859 yards, 3 touchdowns, 6 picks, and he completed 65.7% of his passes, and he racked up 2 wins. And that's just crazy. We're talking about an undrafted quarterback out of Shepherd. He set the collegiate record across all levels of college football for the most career touchdown passes, 159. He hasn't taken the road less traveled. He's taken the road only paved for him. And you guys know his dad, if you watch Hard Knocks, world famous arm wrestling champion. He's just insane. Man, it's just so great to have him on the team. And most players in his position, most players from his background, they're usually rarely heard. They're usually rarely even make a training camp roster, let alone the 53. Bagent is one of a kind. And I think he's the team's top backup this season, but I think he might be the best backup in the whole league. And this is after last year, he beat out veterans PJ Walker. He beat out Nathan Peterman last season. And he just proved that he was the right guy for the job. And now we have Williams fully entrenched as a starter. The common belief was that the Bears were going to follow like the cookie cutter approach, right? Bring in a veteran, help smooth out the transition from college to the NFL for our starter, Caleb Williams. But instead, as always, our GM, our coaching staff, they zigged when everybody else expected a zag. They still chose Bagent as their top backup. And that's even with Brett Rippon, a 6-year veteran. He balled out in that Hall of Fame game. He actually had a really good camp, but Bagent did what he's supposed to do if he wanted the job. He absolutely beat out the competition, and he grabbed the job. He's actually absolutely earned this moment. He's earned the trust of his teammates, coaches, everyone within Hallis Hall, and he's just a really good guy to root for. It's a lot of fun. So even before this current regime, the Bears had Andy Dalton backing up former first-round pick Justin Fields. Oh, that was awful. Veteran Mike Glennon, he was brought in to support former number 2 pick Mitch Trubisky. This is hard to even talk about. It's so bad. But I think something new is happening here. So we're looking at a major injury to Jordan Love. More on that as news comes out. You're looking at Justin Fields likely drawing this start on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. If he balls out, better draft pick, a chance to dominate this division with only really the Lions to contend with us. Minnesota, I'm not really scared of them. So I know it's got to be played on the field. I know we are drinking a lot of hopium Kool-Aid, but man, this is just a lot of encouraging stuff. You guys let me know what you think. Bear down. We are 1 day away from game time, and I just can't wait. I'll talk to you guys in the comments. See ya.